right, folks, Rene here from McBain again, here for another episode of McBain TV. We're continuing our series just talking to photographers about their passions, their loves about photography, their method and approach and what have you. So today we have Nader Abushhab. Mm-hmm. He's a visiting photographer from Phoenix, Arizona, and he is one of the better fashion and editorial photographers around we have. And take it away, Nader.
Hey, I'm Nader, and I've been a full-time photographer for about 8 or 9 years. I've been doing portrait and commercial and some fashion work, editorial work as well, down in Phoenix, Arizona. And I've worked with clients ranging from AB InBev to Amazon and local fashion weeks to like LA Fashion Week. And yeah, it's a big passion of mine to work with people, and I love creating images that immortalize and preserve the image a person would love to see or have their family see in the future.
Right on.
Yeah.
Okay, so before a few technical difficulties occurred, we were talking about environmental portraits.
We were.
And your approach and your love of them. And if you want to, hate to say it again, but if you wouldn't mind reintroducing that, please.
Oh, yeah. So environmental portraitures, I would say that the environment is just as important as the subject you put in them, mm-hmm. and they really speak to the story of that individual. So the right environment is going to just heighten a portrait over like a studio shot, and whatnot.
And so do you have to craft that environment for them, or do you sometimes go into their space and actually use what they already have?
So that's actually a really good question. I love the challenge of working with someone's space. Find the light that you can motivate, you can find the motivated light in their space to then create an image that really is authentic to them. That's something I'm working towards right now to like really hone in on.
Yeah.
Because more than anything, like I do believe in that aspect of like using someone's space to tell their story.
Absolutely.
That said, I absolutely scout locations and find an awesome location that work well with the individual I'm photographing.
Makes sense.
Or filming.
How much time do you spend with the subject before you determine that's necessary? Or
sometimes, I mean, honestly, like in the professional setting, like you don't get much sometimes.
No.
Sometimes you get like minutes to figure it out. But if you have time and you can scout like the day before, like give yourself like a few hours to like find the right space, and then if you can't sit down and talk with your subject, research them. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Now, one thing I noticed in your environmental portraits, very well lit.
Thank you.
And that is harder than people assume it is to do. Like, how many times do you have to actually readdress the lighting while you're in an environmental shoot just because your initial impression wound up being wrong and that sort of thing?
So I'm not the kind of technical lighting guy that just like says, we're going to do this sort of 3-light setup and that's it. Like, mm-hmm. like I was saying, like I like to find the motivated light now. And so that means ever changing. So I kind of pick the modifiers I want to use. I'll know if I want to go more of a hard light or keep it natural looking. Mm-hmm. But I generally light like almost 100% of my portraits. So anything you see like on my Instagram or my website is usually lit. It's not just available light, but I use that available light to then craft from there. So it really is ever changing. If I move to a different spot in a location, I have to switch the lighting.
Well, that's vital, I think. Yeah. I mean, that's how you wind up with good shots in the first place.
Yeah.
When you're going to people's environments, there's always a little bit of a tension point from ones I've done in the past anyways, where you're in their environment, you're shooting in their space, it can feel a little intrusive at times, and if you have to modify part of that environment, mm-hmm. How do you establish that sense of safety with the people in order to actually make sure they feel okay with you being in that space, doing those things?
Absolutely. That's a great question. Generally, like, I think one of the most important things as a photographer is if you're working with people, is to be able to chat with them, communicate with them, and worry about your camera less. So when you are focused on your camera, like they already are comfortable with you. Mm-hmm. So prior to, if I have the time to, prior to lighting or bringing my camera up to my face and trying to get them comfortable, I will try to let them get to know me. Mm-hmm. So those moments where I do have to move things around, they still trust that I'm doing the best job I can to make them look the best they can.
Any particular scenario that you experienced doing environmental portraits that was just like everything was just firing on all cylinders? It was great, it was awesome, and it was just so fun to do.
Yeah, so recently I did a shoot for local fashion week, Phoenix Fashion Week, mm-hmm. and we shot at the Phoenix Zoo. So our theme was supposed to be based off the movie Death on the Nile.
Oh yeah.
So I've been to Egypt before, mm-hmm. and I've been to the Nile, and the one place in Phoenix I was like, this could actually really work was the zoo. So we were able to get all the permissions, get to go over there, and there's this one space like by like a little lake they have, mm-hmm. That just felt so right. So we woke up in the morning, you could hear all the animals chirping, the monkeys going, like you hear the whole zoo kind of bustling. And we had this morning light come in, we just lit it right. We shot this one gentleman, and we had him in this kind of safari-looking gear, and he's just standing at the edge of the pond, and it was just, everything came together so well. So just me nerding out.
No.
Yeah.
And those magical times when everything does come together, it makes things so worth it.
Absolutely.
I mean, for every time you've had a bad shoot, every time you have one of those shoots, it makes it all worth it.
100%.
Yeah. How do you deal with the frustrations of when things just aren't working well?
I feel like a lot of those pitfalls are the things you work through in the first phase of the career of it, because then you get used to working around the problems, and then you just get more comfortable with it. But those first few years where you have those pitfalls and you don't know how to handle them yet, I would say just work through it. Like, get through it. Tomorrow's going to be another day, and if you get stuck on what happened yesterday, like you're never going to push through in this industry. So you really just got to push through the hard times. If something doesn't go wrong, learn from it. And if you can take that away from every shoot that you feel has gone bad, you're going to have 10 more amazing shoots after that.
Every day is a new chance to prove yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't get hung up on any small mistakes.
Right on. You play a lot with athletes. You work with like people doing aerials. You're working with all sorts of other athletic kind of people and that sort of thing. So there's a real sense of movement to your fashion work.
I like the movement aspect. I love working with aerialists and anything circus. Really, I'm kind of a nerd for it. So I grew up inspired by that, and I've been inspired by that through some of the local troops in Phoenix. And I was like, I want to photograph that. So getting to work in that realm, made me think of motion more. Made me think of more creative projects I could do with those kind of athletic individuals.
What's next? I mean, like a lot of artists, I'm sure you have long-term plans or long-term goals and these sorts of things.
Yeah. For me, my goal has been for a while to just get into more celebrity portraiture.
Okay.
So that's what I want to do. So take the environmental stuff I've learned, take the fashion stuff I've learned, and just bring that into the more celebrity realm.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Go more editorial bend with that at the same time, or?
Yeah, I mean, editorial is a great realm for that. So it'd probably go that way, or advertising.
Right on.
Which I'm doing some advertising now, so.
I mean, it's good if you get the work, that's for darn sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Any advice for the listeners or what have you?
Find something that speaks to you, and if you feel good about creating it, keep creating it. And just let that snowball. Let that creativity snowball. Don't feel like I have to. You should be well-rounded as a photographer if you're going to do this as a professional, but find the things that speak to you the most and keep with them. So people know who you are in that realm, and you honestly keep your morale up.
I mean, it's rewarding for yourself, but also it maintains your passion, I assume. So.
Yes, exactly what I mean.
Yeah. Excellent. That's all the time we have, folks. So thanks again for tuning in. Be sure to watch for more of these videos in the future. And Nader, thank you so much for coming out.
Absolutely.
That was amazing. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thank
really
you.
Appreciate it.
I appreciate it a huge amount. So
also my first time in Canada. This is awesome.
There we go. Welcome to Canada.
Cheers.
Take it easy.